All right, so kind of let's cover some recent wholesale deals today, some rehabs that we have, and then some private lending deals that we got. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, and then so some recent property deals that we have. Minimize screen here and project. So I guess the last few meetings, we kind of went over some properties that were called like more doubles and home runs. We were making 20 to 30K spreads in like Texas and California. Since it's a dog days of summer, I figured we'd cover some kind of dog wholesale deals here that we've had recently. And the first one here is in Canton, Ohio. It's a brick exterior. It was a 4-bed, 2.5 bathroom, pretty big house, 2,500 square feet. And all in, we were, it's all our costs, holding costs, everything else was at 37.1. And then we ended up selling it. The previous agent that listed the house had a buyer at 44, and we're going to net 6.9 on this property. So this is an example of not like a home run deal, but a little single here that we sold in Canton, Ohio.
A nice size house too. It's a decent little house, needed a bit of work, but
yeah, I got some pictures I could bring up right here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the exterior I showed on the slides. Interior, I think it just needed a roof pall. Besides that, it could have been mortgageable probably for the most part, if I recall correctly.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so here's some roof damage here. Again, pretty dated, but pretty large house. This was one of those properties where we had a ton of interest from like an owner financing perspective, but we ultimately ended up going with the cash buyer that the agent brought to the table. So that's kind of an example of a Canton, Ohio deal that we've recently done. Any questions, guys?
What did you have you remember what you had like ARV and repairs and all that at?
Yeah, I could pull that up. It's a good question.
$1.25 for the ARV on this.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I think that's what it was. 125.
Actually, I could go down here. It's in here. Yeah, we estimate about 35K in repairs, 150 ARV on this one. So that's kind of what we had it as, but there was a few comps that are in the 130s around the area as well, but there's a few 150. It was one of those, we didn't get what we wanted because it was in the inner city more, which is we usually don't hit. And it's one of those, we were just on the wrong side of the tracks, call it, from our numbers perspective. So this is a great example of, we got years of experience analyzing properties, and we're off by a block or two, basically. Still made money on the deal, just not as much as we thought going into the property.
How did you, the buyer's agent, was that someone, the agent saw your ad, or was it someone y'all reached out to?
It was actually the listing agent.
The listing agent, yeah.
The buyer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we were selling at FSBO, and then we were selling at FSBO, and then they contacted us that they had a buyer, and we sold it through them.
Oh, cool.
So again, it's a good example where, our numbers are off just because it was one of those, you're in the inner city and you vary by block, but, we thought we'd make 20 something on this one, but, ended up making 6 and change.
So was it the ARV then, Mike? That was kind of the number that brought it down?
Yeah.
Or was it the repairs or?
It was more on the ARV side.
Okay.
When we looked at it a block or two north, you were getting 150s there, but block or two south was, call it 120s, 130s, and that was the discrepancy basically. The next property is in Northwest PA, Coneyattville, PA. It's basically probably in between Pittsburgh and Erie. For those who are familiar with Pennsylvania, kind of along the Ohio border there.
You got Meadville,
And
that's not too far from it.
yep. Yeah. We've actually sold a bunch in this county, believe it or not. So it's an area we haven't bought specifically in this part of town, but we know that county pretty well. And we've sold a lot of other properties in that area. This one we actually sat on for several months. I think we locked it up end of January, early February. The listing agent wouldn't play nice with us at the time. He wouldn't give us the lockbox code. I think he found out we were showing it to people, and he changed locks on us. So that kind of delayed us until we actually closed on it to show the property. And then from there, we had a ton of owner finance interest. However, there was too low of a down payment for us. It was almost like a rental, what people are offering. And, ultimately we ended up listing with an agent as well on this one. And they essentially brought us a buyer at 33. So we're, at the end of the day, all in purchase and holding costs, closing costs, all that is at 31. We're selling it for 33 with a net profit of $2K there. Again, still making money on it, but we're trying to give real life examples here. Not every deal's a home run, and this is the real life of virtual wholesaling sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes you get swinging of a $2,000 loss too. So
Yeah.
So you guys closed on this January, and was it
Now,
kind of
probably
held
more
up
like
with
March.
COVID?
We won the contract end of January.
Okay.
yeah, it was probably late February, early March.
Okay.
Yeah. And the one thing that delayed us, the agent changed lockboxes on us because he didn't want us to show it until we actually owned it. So we couldn't really market this one until we closed on it.
Yeah.
Not a bad little property, and it does not need a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
Why was it? Why do you think it was so hard to move?
It's just not a very populated area.
Okay.
No income area.
Small town.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of, it's like, it's close to a lake and everything where it's, almost vacation, but not quite.
Yeah. We actually had a few Pittsburgh people that were looking for vacation homes up that way, because it's probably like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from Pittsburgh, I'm guessing, depending on where in the city you are. And they looked at none of them ultimately pulled the trigger, but it's one of those things. We had interest. It was just offers that we didn't like because we couldn't get the down payment we wanted. We wanted a down payment around like $8,000 on this one. We're getting stuff anywhere from like 2 to 4 for the most part.
Yeah.
And their monthly payments weren't high enough to offset that lower down payment for us.
In the picture, is that gray line? Is that a railroad track, or is that just like some sort of boundary?
I think it's a main street. Sid. Shh. Sorry. Young one coming in.
That's fine.
Fighting with her brothers.
Life at the shore house.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just the main street. It just shows up that way.
No.
Go away. Yeah, it's just a main street. There's really not much to this town. Not much. A few streets you can see. It's pretty much the whole town. I think you're looking at right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The property's not bad. Needs a little bit of cleanup, maybe fresh coat of paint. The kitchen looked fine. Bathroom is fine. Might have some broken pipes though. It gets colder there.
Yeah.
One of the things, I don't really want to turn the water on. You never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
So, there's a couple of the singles.
Yeah. So it's essentially some lower end deals here that we've recently done as well on the higher spreads that we showed in previous months.
Do you guys account for busted pipes in regions like this when you're buying in January, February?
You kind of just figure it's in the rehab price there.
So it's gonna
You're going to have some guaranteed. The banks aren't quick enough to win, and they don't winterize it properly.
All right.
You have to worry about where Trey is in San Antonio.
Yeah, so that like a lot of these, like looking in the Midwest and things like that, it's tough for me because we don't have basements.
Yeah.
We don't freeze, so that's what I kind of struggle with is like repair costs on that stuff because I have no, experience with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny that like septic, to replace a septic in the Northeast or in a rainier region here, it's like, 20, 30, 40K if you need a sand mat. To do it out in Arizona or Texas where you are, it's like $6 to $8,000.
Right. Yeah.
Everything perks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, then we got a couple of the flips.
Yeah. So this is the first of the two flips we're going to talk about today. This one's in Lansdale, which is in county me and Paul live in, and then it's a 2-unit. Each is a 1-1. And Paul, you want to talk about it, but basically all in, you're at 265. You sold it for 337, and we got a profit there of 72K. And this is a rehab you listed on the MLS.
Yep. And I bought this from a wholesaler too, this property. And originally I was planning on just going to refinance it and keep it as a rental. And then coronavirus hit, and then they, weren't doing refis anymore, and they weren't loaning to investors. So I'm like, all right, I'll just list it and sell it. Now they are loaning to investors again, but it's hard to turn down the profit on this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So Paul, did you have it for a while, and then I know you were unloading stuff, but or had you done the rehab through like the fall and the winter?
So I closed on it in January, sometime later in January, I think, right in January. Started working on January, February, March. I think I got a tenant in the upstairs in April or May. Can't remember which month it was, right in that time period. And then I kept the other one vacant so I could sell it to somebody owner occupied, and that's who I ended up buying it, an owner occupied guy. Young guy who's buying his first place, makes good money, he's an engineer, and he's going to have somebody basically pay for the vast majority of his mortgage, kind of like what Mike did to start.
Nice.
So that rehab, the last few pictures were the rehab version, or the rehab unit?
Yeah, this is all rehab.
Yeah, this is all rehab right here. Just scrolling through as Paul's talking.
What's the rent for a 1-bedroom up there in Lansdale? $1,100?
$1,350 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean everything's brand spanking new and nice here. And the guy's credit score is like 808. Millennial, he makes like 60 grand a year. So it's pretty good. And Lansdale's kind of up and coming like Ambler. They're trying to copy what Ambler did. But dropped a lot into it. I picked it up for 144. So, I got like probably 90K into the rehab plus holding costs. 80 to 90, somewhere in there.
And what's the unfinished unit look like? Is it
same thing? It's all exact same thing. You saw.
There. Okay.
There's both in there.
Got it. I missed that you cleaned them both up. You tenanted one and left the other one open.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's a home run deal, I call it.
Yeah, that's good.
The next reno project here is in Ambler. Again, it's a local one in the county that me and Paul live in. Another 2-unit, 1 bed, 1 bath in each unit. Paul, take it away.
Yes, this one, I think I bought this one off Zillow or it was the MLS. And I was going to keep this one as a rental too. That was the original plan on here. Again, coronavirus time. Renovated the upper unit. Rented that one for $1,350. Renovated the lower unit, which is a little bit bigger, and I'm renting that one for $1,405 a month. They both have pets too, so I'm getting an extra $25 a month for the pets. Both millennials, both with like unbelievable credit scores too, and as well in the 700s, they could both buy. None of them want to, and they both make good income. And yes, I picked it up for $195. We're selling it for $325.
Is that the one down by the coal?
Yes, right
or whatever that one.
That's right.
Okay.
Right across from Ambler coal.
Ambler coal, yeah.
I stick with the white shaker cabinets here. Black pulls and the same backsplash for the most part. Same. I did accent walls on this one with the wood. The millennials eat that stuff up. They love it. This accent wall, which is just nothing special, but it makes a huge difference when you're doing rehabs with stuff like that. They just
pretty much put shiplap in all mine.
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah.
Dresses it up. Especially if you have a one wall that's like a really crappy plaster wall or something. Just throw that stuff on there and you're golden. All new laminate flooring, all new lighting throughout, and redid this deck, the railing. That came out pretty good. 2 new bathrooms in here. Obviously the 2 new kitchens, and the basement used to get some water. It was pretty easy to fix the water issue though. Now it seems to be pretty good.
Are those the vinyl plank floors?
That they're actually laminate. I do get vinyl plank, almost the exact same color too, and use that in some spots too. But this is actually just a laminate here from Costco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All new windows, all new everything, just like the house in Lansdale too. But came out pretty good. And then net profit on this one's like 32.5. Again, I would have kept this too and rented it. Same deal. Coronavirus time. Now it's like I'm just taking a profit. We'll find better deals next year or two.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you're expecting something like this to be significantly lower
Yeah.
availability. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely expecting that. We'll see how soon it is.
Yeah.
Going to come soon. The unemployment numbers are pretty ugly. Yeah, numbers just in general are pretty ugly out there.
All right. And then last one here is just a recent private lending deal that we've had on. Me and Paul I put 75 into it. He put 29 into it. Again, I did a video on this a few weeks ago where this is up in kind of called Central PA. They actually bought it from us. I think it was the end of 18, like December of 18.
We wholesaled it to him, yeah.
Yeah, we wholesaled it to him. He had a bunch of projects going on, and I guess his initial financing term expired at either 9 months or 12 months through lending one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
And he needed new funders. We funded it, and kind of, this is what we did at, 15% interest, 2 points, and, $500 renewal fee every 3 months. And I think we started it, the day after Christmas on 2019. So he just got it under contract last month and is closing on it probably the end of this month.
September 4th, he's closing on it, September 4th.
Okay. Yep. So again, another good opportunity if you got money to make a nice, easy 15% plus points with collateral of a house backing you, just because you don't know what the stock market or bond market is going to do in the next recent months, given all the uncertainty out there.
It's for Steve. We'll be able to connect him and get good deals and arrange things together for you like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever wholesaled and lent all within the same transaction?
Yes.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of an example of one. It just came back 12 months later to us.
Came back. Yeah.
What did he need? What's taking so long on the?
So he was doing a bunch of other fix and flips.
Oh, he just.
Time. This was a contractor I had, did a bunch of my rehabs for me.
Okay.
And he wanted to go off on his own and do this, which was great. So he bought some, and he's done pretty well. And then coronavirus hit too, and it delayed this even further, which caused him to go into the end of lending one's term period.
Gotcha.
So we just renewed it for him, paid them off. We hold the mortgage now, and we just basically took them over.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He's good. He's still going to make money on this deal. Actually,
Yeah.
more than he was going to before.
Yeah. I mean, I think we sold it to him for like mid 60s, and he got this under contract for 160. I don't know how much rehab he did, but you know what I mean, what his costs were. But
yeah, I think he's like 40 into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's got a decent net,
He's going to net some money. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll do well with this.
And you guys have good terms.
Yeah, we know he was between a rock and a hard place. I'm like, dude, this isn't going to be cheap, and I warned him that because there was nobody else that was going to let it. Like, I knew the guy.
Right.
He was going to have trouble getting financing from Lending One or Lending Home or any of those other guys, just because he had other deals going on that weren't closing yet. And now they've all since closed. Now he's in pretty good shape again, but he needed that helping hand.
Well, I was like, wow, you just lent this guy, but like you said, you've worked with him, so you know him.
Yeah. Known him for years. Yep. Good guy. Also coaches kids in baseball and travel baseball and all that. I
don't trust any of those guys who coach baseball.
And there was another. He just had a son too. I think it was his fourth kid. And so that was another thing I think that delayed his stuff.
Yeah.
Having a newborn. That'll do it for you. Yep. Trust those baseball coaches. I love it, Steve. I wouldn't trust it too. That's why we have all those signs. We're doing fishy stuff, man. I got one. I'm coaching tonight, a playoff game.
Yeah. Okay. Congrats. Go get them.
I guess one more thing, Paul, we should bring up. You and I have been having phone calls with a few note buyers, essentially. So we'll continue to have conversations with some of these folks. But for those of you that want to, buy a house and maybe maximize your profits and not just sell for cash and make, 10K, maybe make 15, 20, 30K by, getting an owner finance person in there, you could do that, maybe season it for a few months and then sell your note to this group of gentlemen that we're talking to. We're talking to a few different groups here. And that could be another exit strategy for some of you on your wholesale deals, just to maximize profits. You won't get paid as fast, obviously, on a cash deal, but instead of making, 10 grand, you might make 20, 25 pretty easily if you just hold it a few months and find that owner finance buyer.
You guys use servicers for those so you can sell them off easier?
FCI. Somebody self-service if it's going to be real short term, but FCI note servicing is the main one we're using now.
Yep.
What what they're buying at? Percentage?
Depends. Well, it depends a bit on how much they put down and what their credit's like and everything like that. So if you have somebody put a substantial amount down, like Mike and I got somebody put 59 grand down on this Hanover property that was on, I think, our last video, we'll get like 90% on that note.
Yeah.
Just because it's 59, they're only holding a 33,000 or 36,000 and change note on a house that's worth $130, so $150.
Yeah.
So it's very low risk for them.
Paul, what we could do is maybe interview some of these guys.
We're going to do, yeah.
And we could ask you, like Trey, you could ask those questions to them because it's going to vary by deal, but at least they could, I don't want to speak for them. So you could talk to them and, figure out like what works, but it's going to be probably deal by deal basis. They probably have some sliding scale that you could work off of.
Right.
And you guys are kind of whole by that point in time, right? Like you're selling these often after you've made your money back, sometimes even on the down payment.
Yeah, a lot of times we're whole at the down payment, and if it's left in a month or two, or we're close to it. And for the ones that we're not,
big spread.
Yeah,
spread.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in a previous call. The one in Texas, Groesbeck, outside of Waco. We only got, I think, 9 down on them, but the note was like
80K,
and we were all in at like 40K or 35K. I can't remember the numbers now off the top of my head. Even with a 70% discount, we're still making like 30 grand on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another alternative to wholesaling.
Yeah.
And you can usually do better.
Just takes a little longer.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a little bit longer, but you'll get a lot more interest too in the house. Especially as lending tights up in this marketplace we're in.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys are using an originator as well, right?
Yeah, there's well, it depends. Sometimes, like in Texas, for sure, everyone lending, Texas Pride Lending. Now I find another guy who does nationwide, and he's cheaper. So we're going to end up utilizing that guy. That was Ben Fredericks from Investor Fuel who referred us there. So that might be another guy to interview too, or talk to.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Trey, Steve, did you guys have any additional questions on stuff we covered today or anything else?
Just kind of like on what you're seeing as far as
with all my stuff.
Obviously inventory's low on a lot of these sites.
Wait, are they leaving already?
Obviously you don't have a crystal ball, kind of what you think is going on there, if they're just holding back inventory at this point, or is it?
I think it's a lot of things. Some of the factors, I'm going to walk because these guys are getting loud here. I think some of the factors are people, a lot of people are missing payments right now.
Right.
On their houses and stuff. And I think it was that 3rd of August renters missed payments, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of homeowners are in forbearance right now too. So they're not sure exactly what's going to happen. Was it 9% of homes are in forbearance? I think it was. So you're getting close to 1 in 10 homes in forbearance. So I think that's a factor. And I think you'll start to, what's going to end up happening, and this always happens, human nature, right? Once the bloodbath hits and everybody sees the turmoil in the streets, everybody's going to throw their house on at the same time.
Right.
The inventory is going to hit, and you're going to have massive inventory and massive quick price drop because of that. is what I end up thinking is going to go. I might be 100% wrong, and we'll see.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought
Makes
on
sense,
it.
yeah,
Once
I mean-
it runs out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we'll see.
then what amplifies the effect on top of what Paul said with inventory being low now on some of the auction sites is it traditionally is in these months in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The hot season is October to like January for us. You know, that's where you make a ton of deals basically and a lot of home run spreads during those time periods.
Yeah.
Trying to get them off the books.
Yeah.
Off the books for the year end. Yep.
Makes sense.
So I think we're seeing that. You're going to start seeing like the payroll protection money run out too for businesses, and then more businesses go out of business, and that is a trickle down effect. More people losing their jobs, and more people getting foreclosed on.
Right.
Yeah, 9 yards. Right now they had that moratorium, which ended, I think, at the end of July.
Yeah.
So I think it was originally 28 million. That's around 30 million scheduled for eviction in September. And if they delay that again, they're talking about upwards of 40 to 60 million by the year end, all in one shot, which is insane. Because during the 2008 crisis, that really 2006 to 2014 time period, I think they said there was 10 million people officially.
Wow.
If you talk about 4 times that amount, maybe 6 times that amount, that shows you how bad this could be.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of landlords who are bleeding right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot personally that they depend on that rent check and they're not getting any type of forbearance potentially. And, you know, if the renter's not going to pay, you know, it's either they're dipping into reserves or they're going to default as well. And that's the snowball effect of all this.
Yeah. That's where great deals will come from too.
Yeah.
Being able to pick up properties like that and potentially subject to properties like that.
Yeah. I'm going to start. I think the list they're putting out right now, just in Texas or in San Antonio for pre-foreclosures is so small. They're not even.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm imagining that's going to skyrocket, and then, you know, it's just targeting those guys. And, you know, I know how to do sub 2. So that's kind of what I want to do, some sub 2 wraps.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
This would be great for you. It could be great rentals for you, you know?
Yeah.
Have you done them in the past, sub 2 wraps?
I've never wrapped one. No, my first deal I ever did was a sub 2 though. But yeah, I've never wrapped one. But yeah, it's big. There's a ton of people that do it down here.
Okay.
So I know it works.
Yeah.
Especially with like a lot of these newer builds that they bought 3 or 4 years ago. There's not a lot of equity though. But you know, you make your money back on the down payment and spread on the rent and mortgage payment.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a few when I was just in these pre-Paul, like in early 10s, I guess that was a decade, where I would get them under contract, sub to them, and flip them to a rehabber, and that way they weren't out of pocket a lot of money. You know, they would just pay the existing mortgage.
Yeah.
And flippers loved that when I packaged it that way.
Yeah.
And the homeowner was okay with it because it's an easier sell story to tell someone this will be paid off in 9 months.
Yes.
Like, I'm taking this over for 30 years, right? So it's another great option if you find a home seller, they get it under contract sub 2 and either, you know, sign a contract or keep it yourself, do the rehab work and, you know, pay them off later. That way you don't have to go out and find all this extra capital. You're just utilizing what they have already.
Yeah, that's essentially what I did. I took it sub 2, paid the arrears, and just all was out of pocket was the rehab, which was nice. I mean, obviously the monthly payments, but you know, cheaper than getting out hard money on the total purchase.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How about any lease options or sandwich leases? Is that gonna any opportunities in that if someone's, you know, gonna get foreclosed on, but you do like a lease option, kind of help them out and get someone else in there or something?
Lease options. I'm not huge on lease options. Some people really like them. Joe McCall does a lot.
I think Paul's walking out of range.
Yeah.
Let me move back and see if this helps.
Yeah, you're back.
Back? Good. Okay.
Too much sunshine down there in Jersey right now, Paul.
It's hot. I'll tell you, it's hot out there too.
It's a
Not
tough life living a virtual wholesaling lifestyle down the shore.
Yeah. The lease options, I'm personally not a big fan of. I've done a couple in the past, and both Mike and I know somebody got in trouble with them. Jimmy's Aspel here with lease options. So they just run a lot more risk than I like.
Yeah.
I done a few in around 2010, 2009, 2011. None of them worked out for me.
No.
Yeah.
There's people that are good
Buyer
at it.
never comes through. If they got trouble with credit and you think they're going to buy from you, it never. I mean, for me at least, it didn't work.
Rare.
Out. Yeah.
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 You're
I
better
like
off
controlling the
sub
deal.
two.
That's why I'm not a fan of the lease options.
Yeah. With you.
I think they're illegal down here.
Yeah, they are. In Texas, they're illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a few other areas there are too. There's just been too many issues with them.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Well, I got other things to learn before I consider that. So
Baby steps.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Focus on one or two things for now and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Don't worry about lease options and other things like that until
Yeah.
later. Master a few things first and then move on if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? Anything?
I think so.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Anything you guys are seeing out there in the market?
Our local market's still crazy.
Red hot. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
you know, and I guess money's cheap. So
Yeah.
The numbers are shrunken or increasing due to shrunken inventory.
yeah,
Tight inventory. That's the only thing that's starting. I mean, it's simple. This is a basic macroeconomic explanation.
Yeah.
Supply and demand. Limited
Sure.
supply, higher price, and appraisers are having to adjust quick.
right,
You can adjust on the fly because it's hard for them to find comps.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's why it's benefits. Why the time is to sell is right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've told it. I've gotten both my sisters to sell their house. I'm like, if you're gonna sell
Now.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because prices are gonna drop, and so they both have.
Yeah.
And both of them got full
Great.
price offers in like a day or two.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You guys still seeing kind of a flight away from, I mean, here on the East Coast, we got Philly and New York, and you guys still seeing kind of that, people trying to get out?
Huge.
With
Flight from the cities.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's continuing.
And-
Especially as corporate America keeps pushing out timelines to work wherever you want and looking at what companies are doing, none of them are ever going to go back 100% to the office full time.
Right.
So if I got an awesome lake house, say 2.5 hours away from New York City, and I don't have to drive to the city once or twice a week in the future, I could live on the lake, have several acres instead of some like small, tiny ass condo in Brooklyn or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think you're seeing that mindset shift, especially in the Northeast areas where the urban areas are pretty tight. But if you drive out, they're not even the suburbs anymore. They're more of I don't know if there's a name for them yet, but the rural areas, you're seeing that demand.
Yep.
It's a great example of that private lending deal that we did originally pre-COVID. That ARV was like 140,
Yes.
160 for it. Because when me and Paul ran the numbers, I know that development well just because my in-laws live in it. And I had it pegged at 140, and he ended up with COVID, prices continued to rise, and he got 160.
Yeah. He
We
offered
should have that property.
that over too. We should have jumped on that money.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020.
But no, that's all right. And so what I'm seeing here too, like realtors here where I am in New Jersey right now, like friends of ours, they're having just so many people are buying houses that were from North Jersey and New York down in Central and South Jersey right now, and in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. That's where you're seeing a lot go to.
Yeah.
So you're getting out of the cities for sure. Some people just getting second houses, and some people just moving. Period.
Yeah.
And it's going all over. People out of St. Louis, I'm sure out of Philadelphia to an extent too.
Yeah.
And these other cities.
In Silicon Valley, everyone's moving to Sacramento, Boise, Reno, like all these areas that are like several hours away from the Bay City, because now they don't have to live in someone's garage and pay rent for a garage space because that's all they could afford. They could actually have a full-size house as a software engineer for Google because they don't have to be in Mountain View anymore in California. They could work wherever essentially.
Idaho is booming, and Sacramento is always pretty inexpensive. Now that's going to probably be an overpriced,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Yeah. And a lot of out-of-state investors still in the high-price markets, they're all still flooding to the Midwest, like Ohio, Indiana, Texas, so that's trend's been going on. That's going to continue.
Yeah, I don't think it's going on in Texas. Like, I don't think people are moving out of Dallas proper. The Trey would know better than that.
No, I'm talking not moving. It's outside investors. So people that live in California that don't want to move, they're still buying a lot, and they're just because the prices aren't making sense where they live anymore.
Totally.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people from California moving here, actually physically moving here. Yeah. I read an article a couple of days ago about the listings in San Francisco have skyrocketed in the last few months, and then
saw that too.
Yeah, a bunch of people moving here from California, and they're probably moving to Phoenix too, that area.
Yeah. They'll be getting out of Portland and Seattle there shortly too.
I don't blame them.
Yeah,
all cities that they are.
Yeah, you don't want to be living in a war zone.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Even Atlanta, to an extent, they're dealing with stuff too. People moving out of these areas. You'll see that continue for a while here. It's a pretty interesting trend, but it's benefiting us because we have a lot of stuff in those areas. Always do.
Yeah.
So, all right.
That's it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
thanks for doing that. These are always helpful.
Cool.
I like to see the not so great deals too.
Yeah. I mean, figure we've been showing some like doubles and home runs. Let's show like the whole portfolio, and these are a few dogs. You still make money on them, but
maybe you can pick through and find some that like you just really missed somehow, either on
Usually the ones we miss, it's earnest money deposit. Because it's a foundation issue or something we find out later.
And then you just kick it back to them.
Yeah. So to me, it's like I lost a football bet, $500 or $2,500, depending on what the earnest money deposit is.
You mean you lose the earnest money deposit that you put down?
Yeah, potentially.
Gotcha.
If you don't write like Trey, like I think you had one and we wanted to walk away from, and we wrote up that repair needed this, and they'll let you out of it when you get stuff like that. They're pretty good. Like a lot of them you can. HUD you can't. HUD will not. And Fannie and Freddie on investors will really make it hard for you too. But Zoom, auction.com, Hudson Marshall, those guys really, but they'll let you get out of it if you have
real proof.
And backing it and showing why.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
So do you see that when you go send in to get pictures, or someone goes in after you're starting to show it and they're like, dude, this foundation's a mess. And
both.
It's
sometimes
both.
that will happen. Sometimes you'll get like a rainstorm coming, and all of a sudden the basement floods. You get stuff like that. Where it's dry as a bone before, right? And now all of a sudden it's got 3 feet of water in it.
Right.
And sometimes walls collapse, or they'll see things that other people didn't see, and pictures don't show everything, right? So, and investors are pretty good about going through and finding foundation issues to try to get you on pricing anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's usually what you end up seeing.
Yeah.
So does the bank just end up eating that or does the price just come way down? They still try to sell it even with knowing
Sometimes
that
you can get it for a cheaper price. Like I've gotten as much as $7,500, $10,000 off properties in the past. Sometimes just $2,500, $5,000, but it depends.
They'll come back to you with that, Paul. They'll say, "Hey, we'll take it." Yeah.
Yeah, they'll ask you what your number is, and you tell them, and then you see what they come back with. Go back and forth with them.
Yeah.
If you have an estimate shows, hey, $15,000 foundation issues, they'll usually work with you and go with that estimate too. So you'll sometimes see that. Just something to know.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing to know.
Yeah.
That was my first experience with it, and I was a little worried I was going to get it back, but
yeah, we were going back and forth on email there a little bit. I think I might even got involved with the auction company with you on email on that too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was the North Carolina one, right, Trey?
Might have been in PA. That might have been in Pennsylvania.
I can't remember.
Pennsylvania, Trey, was that?
That was in North Carolina. It was in
because we were talking about. I was thinking about funding that for you too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
The guy, a buyer,
Yeah.
sent me pictures of the foundation. He had an inspection done on it. I was under contract with him. I had earnest money and all that. And inspection came back with a bunch of foundation stuff. So I sent that to them, and they sent me a check back. So worked out.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye. I'm going.
Jason. She's off.
Nah.
Going to the babysitter.
Nice.
So. And I'll be heading back to PA.
Hey, good luck
Yeah,
with
when
the
you-
football game tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully.
Oh, is that where your game is? The game's back here?
Yep, back in Warrington.
All right.
Like under the lights tonight at 8:15, so it should be fun.
Okay.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, I got to get my kids to Taekwondo. We are now taking them to the dojo because
Nice.
it's a circus when they're here at home through video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I know what you mean. I remember seeing that.
So,
Alrighty.
all right, gents. Good
All
seeing
right.
everybody.
All right. Take care, guys. See you, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.